Okay, so let's set the scene. It's, I don't know, 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. You are deep in the zone. I mean, you are effectively a wizard at the keyboard right now. The code is flowing. The logic is sound. The world outside has just, ceased to exist.
The holy grail of productivity, the flow state.
Yes.
It's where every developer, every writer, every creator, that's where they want to live.
Right. And then notification dings, or maybe just a sudden cold panic hits you. You just freeze.
Uh-oh.
Wait, did Sarah from product say the budget for this feature was $50K or $15K, or when is that architecture review? Is that in 10 minutes or is that tomorrow?
And just like that, the house of cards collapses.
It's the alt-tab dance, isn't it? You stop coding. You minimize the IDE. You open Outlook. You search Sarah budget.
And you get 15 emails about the holiday party from 3 years ago.
Exactly. Then you check Teams. You check the calendar. By the time you find the answer and tab back to your code,
And the magic is gone. You're staring at a blinking cursor trying to remember what variable you were just defining.
it's such a universal pain point.
Oh, it is. We talk about context switching like it's this minor nuisance, but the cognitive load is just massive. You are tearing down your mental model of the code to build a mental model of your calendar. And then you try to rebuild the code model 5 minutes later.
It's exhausting.
It is arguably the single biggest productivity killer in modern software development.
It really is.
Yeah.
It feels like a context tax we pay every 20 minutes. But today, we are diving into a tool that, well, it claims it can repeal that tax. We're looking at Microsoft Work IQ.
Specifically, the Work IQ MCP Server.
Right.
And this is a really significant development. I mean, I want to be clear. It's not just another productivity app or a better search bar. It's fundamentally about bridging two islands that have been separated for way too long.
Which are?
Your AI assistants, like GitHub Copilot, which live in your code editor, and your actual day-to-day enterprise reality, which, lives inside Microsoft 365.
So the mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to figure out if this tool actually delivers on that promise of letting you chat with your own enterprise data right from the terminal. We're going to break down how to set it up, the technical requirements, the security side, and honestly, whether it's worth the hassle.
And we absolutely need to talk about the tech underneath it, too. This isn't just magic. There are some interesting gears turning here with something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
I have to say, looking at the source material, there is a serious sci-fi vibe to this. Just being able to type into a command line, what did my manager say about the deadline, and getting an answer.
It does have that flavor.
It feels like we're getting closer to having a digital butler, like JRVIS or something.
It does, but I think if we look past the cool factor, it's really about friction reduction. It's about keeping you in that flow state we talked about.
Yeah.
If the data comes to you, you don't have to leave the terminal to go hunting.
You stay where you're building things. So let's unpack this. We've dropped the name Work IQ a few times. Based on the documentation, how should we actually define this thing? What is it technically?
At its core, Work IQ is a tool designed to query your Microsoft 365 data using natural language. That's the headline.
Okay.
But the nuance is in the scope. It's not just searching for files. It's querying the relationships between data points.
Right, because Microsoft 365 data is a massive umbrella. Are we talking about just finding an Excel spreadsheet in a haystack? Because I can kind of do that with the Windows search bar.
It's much broader, and it's much more conversational. The documentation highlights 5 specific pillars of data it can access. First, and probably most useful for that Alt-Tab problem, is emails.
Okay.
You can ask things like, summarize the thread with Sarah about the budget. It doesn't just list the emails, it reads them and synthesizes the content.
Which immediately solves my nightmare from the intro.
Precisely. Second is meetings. What's on my calendar tomorrow? Do I have any conflicts next week? This lets you plan your coding blocks without leaving your code.
And the third one?
Third is documents, so searching SharePoint and OneDrive.
Which, let's be honest, finding anything in SharePoint usually requires a map and a compass.
It can be a labyrinth, so Work IQ tries to cut through that.
Yeah.
Fourth is Teams messages. You can ask, summarize today's messages in the engineering channel.
That one seems huge. Teams channels can become a fire hose of noise. If I step away for lunch, I come back to 50 unread messages.
It's overwhelming.
Having an AI just say, here are the 3 things that matter, is a game changer.
Absolutely. And the 5th pillar is people. You can ask questions like, who is working on Project Alpha?
That last one caught my eye. Who is working on Project Alpha? That's not just retrieving a file. That needs like an understanding of the org graph.
That's the key differentiator here. It's not a keyword search. If you search Project Alpha in a standard file explorer, you get files named Project Alpha. But Work IQ uses semantic understanding. It looks for connections.
It's seen that Sarah and Dave are emailing about it.
Exactly. It sees they have meetings about Alpha, they're chatting in teams about Alpha, and it infers the connection. It maps the people to the work.
And this intelligence is powered by this MCP thing you mentioned.
Correct. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. It's an open standard that's getting a lot of traction. Think of it this way. LLMs, like the one in Copilot, are incredibly smart, generic reasoners.
Right.
They know Python, they know history, they know how to write a haiku about a dishwasher, but they're essentially brain damaged when it comes to your life.
They don't know I have a dentist appointment at 2 p.m., and they don't know my company's internal acronyms.
They're totally isolated from your private context. The MCP server acts as a standardized bridge. It's a safe, structured way to feed that private context, your calendar, your emails, into the model right when you ask the question.
So it's not training the model on my data permanently.
No, not at all. It's just providing the relevant context for that specific session.
It's like handing the AI a dossier of relevant files just for that one conversation. Here, read this so you can answer my question, and then you take it back.
That's a perfect analogy, and because it's a protocol, it's designed to be modular. You plug the Work IQ module into your AI, and suddenly your AI has work vision.
Okay, that sounds powerful. But powerful tools usually come with a headache of an installation process. The sources outline two main paths to actually getting this running.
They do, and they cater to two very different types of users. There's the I just want it to work path and the I want to build something custom path.
Let's start with the I just want it to work path. I'm guessing that's to the general developer who just wants to query their calendar.
Yes. This is the fast track, and it's via the GitHub Copilot CLI. If you are already using GitHub Copilot in your terminal, this is incredibly low friction.
Walk us through it. Are we talking about compiling binaries here?
Not at all. It's 3 steps. Step 1. You open your existing GitHub Copilot CLI. Step 2. You tell Copilot where to look for extensions. You run a command, plugin marketplace, add GitHub Copilot plugins.
Okay, so we're just registering a plugin source. Simple enough.
Precisely. And step 3. You install Work IQ. The command is plugin install work at Copilot plugins.
And that's it?
You might need to restart the CLI, but essentially, yes. Once that's done, the tool is active. You can just start typing, what are my upcoming meetings? And it pulls the data.
That is deceptively simple. I feel like enterprise software usually demands a blood sacrifice or something.
Well, don't get too comfortable. There is a massive gatekeeper regarding permissions that we have to talk about, but the installation of the bits and bytes is simple.
Fair enough. Now, what about the builders? The people who aren't just using Copilot, but might be building their own AI agents or something?
That is method 2, the standalone MCP server. This is for the power users or the agent engineers.
And how does that differ?
Instead of a plugin, you're installing a Node.js package globally on your machine. You run npm install-g at Microsoft Work.
Standard Node stuff.
Right. And to run it, you just type work MCP. Or if you want to be cleaner and not install global packages, you can use npxy at Microsoft Work MCP.
Now, the source material had a snippet of JSON code with this method. Looked like a config block. What's that for?
That is crucial for IDE integration. If you are using a tool like Cursor or, a complex VS Code setup that supports these servers, you have to register this tool. That JSON block is basically an address card you hand to your IDE.
It's saying, hey, IDE, if you need to talk to Microsoft 365, here's the command to launch the server.
Exactly. The JSON specifies the command NTX and the arguments to launch the package. It tells the agent, I have a tool called Work IQ, here's how you start it. Without that config, your editor won't know the tool exists.
Okay, so we've installed it. I'm ready to type. What did Sarah say about the budget? But you mentioned a gatekeeper.
I did. And this is where many listeners are going to hit a brick wall. You can install the software all day, but when you try to run that first query, you're going to hit the Microsoft 365 permissions wall.
Is this a local admin rights thing on my laptop?
No, this is much bigger. This is about administrative rights on your Microsoft 365 tenant, the cloud permissions.
The corporate big boss permissions.
Big boss permissions. And honestly, if we step back, this makes perfect sense. You are asking a command line tool to read your corporate emails, access internal documents, and scan Teams chats.
Yeah, from a security standpoint, that looks terrifying. You don't want just any rogue script reading the CEO's emails.
Exactly. So Microsoft has locked this down. On first access, a consent dialog will pop up in your browser. But here's the catch. If you are a regular employee, you likely do not have the authority to click accept.
So I'll see the button, but it will be grayed out.
Or it'll say, need admin approval, or it will just block you. If you are not a tenant administrator, you are blocked. You cannot grant that consent yourself because you don't own the data, the company does.
So if I'm working at a massive company, I can't just turn this on quietly.
No, you have to contact your tenant administrator. The documentation is very explicit about this. It even provides a tenant administrator enablement guide and a quick one-click consent URL to send to your IT department.
I can just imagine that conversation. Hey, IT security team, I found this cool tool on GitHub. I need you to let my terminal read my emails.
It's a tough sell in some places. It's a conversation about balance, security versus convenience. But organizations are moving this way because the productivity gains are real.
So, pro tip for the listeners, do not get your hopes up until you know who holds the keys to your tenant.
Right. Don't spend an hour configuring your IDE only to find out you can't log in. Check with IT first.
Let's assume we've cleared that hurdle. We bought IT a coffee, we got the approval. What's the actual experience like? What commands are we typing?
The CLI reference is pleasantly tidy. They haven't overcomplicated it.
That's always a relief.
The very first command you run, and you only do this once, is Work IQ accept EULA.
The inevitable I agree text scroll.
Can't escape the lawyers. Once that's done, the main workhorse is simply Work Ask.
Work ask.
You can use it in two modes. If you just type Work Ask and hit Enter, it drops you into an interactive session. It's like a chat room with your data.
So I could say, what meetings do I have? And then follow up with, draft an email to the organizer of the first one.
Exactly. It holds the context of the conversation. The other mode is for quick one-off queries. You use the enough queue flag. So Work Ask QQ summarized the last email from Bob.
That seems great for scripting. You could build a morning briefing script that runs automatically.
You absolutely could. Now, there is a global option called Tenant ID. That's the UNT flag.
Why would I need to manually specify a tenant ID? Usually when I log in, it knows who I am.
This is crucial for consultants, freelancers, or agencies. If your Microsoft account is a guest in 3 different client organizations, the tool needs to know which organization to query.
Oh, right. You don't want to ask, when is the deadline? And get the date for client A when you're working on client B's code.
That could be disastrous. Hey, I thought the launch was Friday. No, that's the other company. So it's a safety feature.
What about the hardware side? I'm on a Mac, you're on Windows, doesn't matter.
Platform support is comprehensive. Windows, Linux, macOS, Intel chips, Apple Silicon. It covers all the bases.
But there was a specific call-out in the notes for WSL, the Windows subsystem for Linux. I know a huge chunk of our audience lives inside WSL.
Yes, and this is a gotcha moment. It works in WSL, but remember, Work IQ needs you to sign into your Microsoft account. That usually means popping up a web browser window.
And WSL is a command line environment. It doesn't always know how to launch a browser in the host OS.
It creates a disconnect. You might type the command and just sit there waiting for a window that never appears.
That is a terrifying image. So what's the fix?
The documentation provides a specific utility. You need to install a package called wooslu. The command is sudo apt install wooslu. Right. It stands for Windows Subsystem for Linux Utilities. It basically teaches Linux how to talk to the Windows web browser. Once you install that, the sign-in flow works perfectly.
That is a solid piece of advice. That is the kind of thing that has you banging your head against the desk for 3 hours on a Friday.
Absolutely. It's always the little environment things that trip you up.
Now, I want to pivot to something that caught my eye on the repository itself. We are looking at a GitHub repo. It has code, it has issues. So naturally, I assumed this is open source.
And this is where it gets interesting. The answer is a definitive no.
Maybe. It's on GitHub. That's the home of open source.
It is. But if you read the bold print in the contributing section, it says, the command line tool and MCP server documented in this repository are not open source.
That feels a bit contradictory. Why put it on GitHub if I can't contribute to the code or fork it?
The implementation is proprietary. It's maintained internally by Microsoft. They aren't accepting pull requests that change the core logic. You can't fix a bug in the server code yourself.
So it's look but don't touch.
I describe it as read-only code, read-write product.
What do you mean by that?
The repository exists for documentation, transparency, and most importantly, feedback. They are using GitHub's infrastructure, the Issues tab, the discussions as their feedback loop. They want you to report bugs. They want you to suggest features.
So the community engagement is real. It's just not, here's a patch for your bug engagement.
It's a model we're seeing more often for enterprise tools. They want the developer workflow without giving away the IP of the underlying engine. They need the user reports, but they keep the engine room locked.
That makes sense, especially since this is labeled public preview.
That label is critical. Public preview is developer speak for things might break, the APIs might change overnight, the feature set isn't frozen.
So don't build your entire critical infrastructure on it just yet.
Use it, enjoy it for your daily workflow, but maybe don't bake it into a mission-critical pipeline that runs a nuclear power plant.
Good advice generally, I think.
I think so too.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone from the frustration of the Alt-Tab dance to installing a tool that lets us query our entire work life from the terminal.
It's a comprehensive package. It really feels like the beginning of a shift in how we interact with our computers.
It really feels like we were inching closer to that computer from Star Trek. Computer, where is Captain Picard?
He is in the ready room.
Except for us, it's computer, where is that email from accounting?
It is in your deleted items folder.
Probably.
But, this raises a really provocative thought for me.
What's that?
We spend so much of our careers managing admin, finding the file, checking the calendar, scheduling the meeting. We consider that work.
It feels like work. It's exhausting. It takes up half the day.
But it's not creative work. It's logistical overhead. If tools like Work IQ mature to the point where they truly work seamlessly, if the tool can read our emails and calendars to help us code, are we moving toward a world where the distinction between administrative work and creative work completely dissolves?
That is a wild thought.
Think about it. If the logistics become invisible because the AI handles the context, what are we left with?
Just the work.
We are left with pure problem solving, pure creation.
Or pure panic, because we have no excuse not to be brilliant all the time.
That is the other side of the coin. There's nowhere to hide in the administrative busy work anymore. You can't say, I spent all morning finding the files when the files find themselves.
Well, on that slightly terrifying but exciting note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive.
Indeed.
If you're listening and you want to try this out, go check your GitHub Copilot CLI. Run that install command. But first, maybe send a nice email to your IT administrator.
You're going to need them.
And check your tenant ID. Thanks for listening, everyone. Go unlock your context. See you next time.